resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Put a massive fuel storage facility on top of a drinking water supply? What could go wrong?
The Pentagon's Inspector General says Navy officials failed to sufficiently grasp the risk of placing the storage tanks atop the water well at Pearl Harbor. More than 6,000 people were poisoned by a jet fuel leak in 2021. The IG says it happened even though the Navy had engineering drawings and environmental studies describing the risks. The Navy says corrective actions are being taken. Rich Thomason reporting.
The first batch of artwork from the Boy Scouts of America's collection has raised over $3.7 million at auction to help pay the compensation owed to those who were sexually abused while in scouting. The 25 works offered up by Heritage Auctions on Friday are among over 300 from the Boy Scouts that will be sold at auction. News and analysis at townhall.com. Protesters in Georgia's breakaway republic of...
This is Ian with AccuClean. Regular carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning isn't just about keeping them looking beautiful and smelling fresh. It can also help to extend their life, which in turn saves money in the long run. Check out AccuClean today for our other services, such as mattress sanitation, odor and enzyme treatments, and leather cleaning and conditioning. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 for all your carpet cleaning needs and more. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
It's a Friday night in South Carolina, and that means high school football. Welcome to the Founders Federal High School Scoreboard with Phil Kornblut and David Shelton. We've got all the scores from across the state, plus game reports and interviews with coaches. The High School Scoreboard is proudly brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now, let's head to the Scoreboard Studios in Columbia. Here's Phil Kornblut.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome into the High School Football Scoreboard. Here on the Sports Talk Media Network, Phil Kornblut coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tonight. They got some big-time playoff action going on up in this area. As you might imagine, this is a hotbed for high school football. In fact, on my ride over here, I flew into Cleveland and drove over to Pittsburgh, went right through Beaver Falls. Do you know who comes from Beaver Falls? JP? You don't have a clue who comes from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. One of the most famous NFL football players of all time.
Is that true?
Yeah, Joe Namath. Joe Namath.
Okay.
Is from Beaver Falls, PA.
Joe Namath was decades into an announcing career before I was even born.
This part of the world produced Joe Namath, Joe Montana, Dan Marino. They all came from this western Pennsylvania area. Hotbed of quarterbacks and many, many more. Those are just three off the top of my head. Of course, Marino played at Pittsburgh. Okay, it's good to have you with us tonight. The first night of the playoffs for the South Carolina High School League and the second round of the playoffs for the Skeezers. The Skeezers will be playing state championship games next weekend. So maybe this would be just their fourth round? No, they only had 3 rounds in Skeeza, I believe. But they'll be playing state championship games next week in Skeeza, while High School League, of course, everything being moved back a week for them. State championship week is not until the week of December 14th, December 15th. So it's time to find out who is going to be moving on down the road and getting in position to play in the state championship games in a few weeks. Let's give you some scores. In fact, Bob Corlew from WQUL up in Woodruff, they do Dorman football. And the season is over for the Cavaliers. They are shut out tonight by Boiling Springs 32-0. That is a very good win. Boiling Springs was going really well earlier in the season. In fact, Scott Early told me that to him, Boiling Springs looked like one of the better teams in the state. I think they hit a little bit of a rough spot here and there, but they found themselves tonight, and they put a 32-0 beating on Dorman. First round of this would be the 5A Division I. We have to remember now we got 5A Division I, 5A Division II, then 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A this year in high school football in South Carolina. So Boiling Springs beats Dorman. Final score there of 32-0. And we'll be getting many more finals. We're going to check and see what ScoreStream has posted thus far. And as I always say, ScoreStream's a nice service, but you can't trust the scores. I would say 99% are correct, but if one's wrong, it kind of messes up your whole night because you want them all to be right. So I can't guarantee the accuracy of these scores, but most of them are correct and pretty close to being spot on because I think there are people at games who call in these scores. So, and sometimes the scores are embellished, as you know. We saw a couple of times where they posted a score for a team of having like 120-something points. So North Augusta has beaten Airport 56-0. Porter Gaud leads Northwood 21-7. Skeeza semifinals 21-7. Porter Gaud leading there. Woodruff has beaten Pendleton 28-21. In the fourth quarter, White Knoll leads Lugoff Elgin 41-18. A final, North Myrtle Beach over Lucy Beckham 42-18. In the fourth quarter, Chapin leads Goose Creek 17-16. It's Catawba Ridge over Woodmont 38-35. That's a fourth quarter score. Hillcrest over Nation Ford 42-17. Third quarter score. Indian Land on top of Eastside 34-7. That's in the fourth quarter. Ashley Ridge defeats West Ashley 51-13. In the fourth quarter, James Island dialing up that defense, leading Wando 24-2. In the third quarter, Spring Valley over Ridgeview 35-7. Fort Dorchester defeats Stratford 20-10. Burns on top of Lexington 32-11. That's in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, River Bluff 27, Malden nothing. As we told you, Boiling Springs beats Dorman 32-0. In the fourth quarter, Bluffton 31, May River 24. A final, Bishop England 42, South Aiken 19. In the fourth quarter, Gilbert 41, Lower Richland 14. In the third quarter, Hilton Head 19, Crestwood 10. A final, Darlington. What a year they're having at Darlington. Back in the playoffs, they beat Midland Valley 23-15 tonight. It's Hartsville over Beaufort by a final of 45-21. Daniel, too much for Dreer. Final score there, 45-14. Another final, Richland Northeast edges Seneca 22-20. Another final. Okay, this cannot be right. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I can't always trust this service or this outlet or whatever it is. Because someone has posted Blue Ridge beating South Point 76-0. See, that's just not right. If that score is correct, then tomorrow I'll have a head of hair like JP has tonight. I will all of a sudden just sprout out, a big old mob of hair. If that score is correct, which I know it's not, I will bet you $1 billion that I do not have, but $1 billion if that score is not correct. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Can't always trust these scores. And that one's wrong. I'm sure of it. Fountain Inn in the fourth quarter over Greer, it says, 21-14. And Wren beat Lancaster 41-21. Camden is leading Pickens 43-17. Third quarter, AC Flora over Emerald 40-20. West Side, no trouble with Lakewood, 55-0. That's the thing about this West Side team. We talk so much about the offense with Cutter Woods at quarterback and how potent they are. They play very good defense, too. They beat Lakewood 55-0. Oceanside Collegiate over Fox Creek, 56-14. In the fourth quarter, Waccamaw 43, Swansea 16. Dillon defeats Battery Creek 42-7. It's Newberry shutting out Georgetown 48-0, and Keenan beating North Charleston 58-8. In the fourth quarter, Orangeburg Wilkinson leading Aner 19-16. Another final, Hanahan over Silver Bluff, it says here, 35-10. And Belton Honeypath, big win over Southside Christian, 63-20. Palmetto defeats Chapman, 29-15. Also tonight in the playoffs, Powdersville over Broome, 37-13. Christchurch, no trouble with West Oak, 42-2. That reported final. Crescent beats Union County, 45-18. In the fourth quarter, it's Walhalla leading St. Joseph's 36-35. Heck of a game there. Also, Hampton County leading Woodland 42-14. That's in the fourth quarter. Manning over North Central 55-0. In the fourth quarter, it's East Clarendon 14, Andrews 0. Another final, Timberland over Lake City 20-15. And a final, Saluda 24, Mid Carolina 0. Central is leading Landrum, still in the fourth quarter, 36-26, Central over Landrum. Chesney has defeated 96 tonight, and that score listed at 26-21. Chesney over 96, 26-21. Andrew Jackson downs Liberty, 42-17. Chester, a winner over Strom Thurmond, 44-23. Clinton with a big win over Pillion tonight, 56-0. And it was Baptist Hill shocking the Latta Vikings, 16-0. Wow. That one sends vibration throughout the state. The mighty Vikings have gone down tonight, JP. Have gone down, 16-0. Latta loses at Baptist Hill. Hannah Pamplico, a winner over Military Magnet, 43-6. Cross shuts out Green Sea Floyd's 48-0. Ridge Spring Bonetta, 45. Ware Shoals, 28. How about Dixie? Dixie having a really good year. They host a playoff game. They win the playoff game over Wilson Elko, 42-0. Hunter Conard Tyler over McBee, 54-21. Lee Central defeats Calhoun County, 27-13. It was Fairfield Central defeating Chesterfield 60-6. And Chiraw shuts out Edisto 45-0. Mountain View Prep in the fourth quarter, leading Carolina High and Academy, 42-0. That game in the fourth quarter. Hammond in Skeeza action all over Augusta Christian as they're rolling towards another championship, and that's a final of 55-7. Wilson Hall defeats Hilton Head Christian 21-9. And with that, we have run through the scoreboard. So they all look reasonable. They all look correct except for that one. Okay, except for that one with South Point. And you can take it to the bank that score was not correct. It might have been just entered erroneously. It could have been the other way around. We'll find some place that's got the legit score on that and let you know. So there you go with the first run through the scores tonight here on the high school football scoreboard. So we'll hit our first break, and when we come back, we'll start to get into reporters who are at games tonight. I see them lining up, so guys, hang on. We're going to get to you after the break. We're going to continue to update the scores and get these scores plotted in to each of the individual classification score sheets. We can talk more directly about 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, etc. So we're working to get that done as well. So stay tuned. We got more of the high school scoreboard coming right up. Reporters around the corner. Be right back. Brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Some insurance carriers are based in another state or only have an online presence. Not at Farm Bureau Insurance. They're a local South Carolina company that believes commitment comes with a handshake. Become part of the Farm Bureau Insurance family today by calling Buddy Bridges at 864-984-0413 or stop by the Upstate office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
Okay, we are back. That was our first run through the scores of the high school football playoffs in South Carolina tonight, and we'll go back over those scores for you, updating them constantly throughout tonight. David Shelton will be joining us in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get out to some great reporters standing out in the fields tonight, watching games, calling games, and we begin with Taylor Novinger. Boy, one day JP's going to get your name right on the list. Tonight is Tyler Novlinger, but it's actually Taylor Novinger. I messed up and
the A
voice
one
of
time.
Crestwood.
One time I messed up the A, and I'll never live it down.
Well, you got the first name wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
It's
Tyler,
you know,
Taylor.
I'm typing fast.
Yeah. And the Novlinger. Anyway, all right, the voice of Crestwood, and he's joining us. Had to go down to, Hilton Head tonight, Taylor?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Long trip down to Hilton Head. Crestwood, they came out. They kicked it off to Hilton Head, and a couple plays, at literally second play of the ball game, Temeko, the running back for the Seahawks, ran it in for a score, about a 70-yard touchdown run. So that put them up 7-0. Crestwood got the ball back, and Richardson fumbled after like a 15-yard gain. Gave it right back to Hilton Head, and Hilton Head went right back down, and they scored again. And next thing you knew, it was up. They're up 14-0. Then they had a safety because they punted back. Crestwood got the ball around the 1-yard line, did not run the football, and they went out to pass, and Jadis Williams got sacked for safety. The Knights did a really good job in the second half, Phil. They came out, scoring the football, had some really good drives. And they trailed, at halftime, but they came out and they were moving the football. It was 19-17. They scored 10 points in the second half, and it's about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, and they throw Reneski throws a pass to Waters. They said he caught the football. It was on the far side of the field. The Crestwood Knight faithful thought he dropped it. It was on a 4th and 5, and it converted for a first down, and that was just enough time to run out the clock.
Boy, tough way to lose.
Yeah.
Tough way to lose,
Very
but they had Crestwood had a promising year. They had one of those years you would call a step forward for them, I'd say.
Yes, and it's a tough division when you got South Lawrence and Hartsville in the top there, Phil.
No doubt about it. How'd you enjoy doing the play-by-play for the first time?
It was a lot of fun, Phil. I'll probably be back. We'll see where Dave, my boss, sends me. He may send me back to Wilson Hall. I don't know, wherever they decide. But I enjoyed it. I'll be back again.
They sign you to a long-term contract, I hope.
I don't know. I'm on a 1-year basis. I may have to get some NIL money. Transfer portal, that kind of stuff.
Well, listen. Uncle Dave Baker, he's so tight with the money he squeals, but I'll negotiate for you, see what I can do.
All right, thanks, Phil. Take care.
All right, Taylor, thank you very much. As I suspected, the final score of the South Point Blue Ridge game was 77-0, all right, but it was South Point that won that game 77-0. Clover over Blythewood 31-28. It's Hillcrest beating Nation Ford 48-23. Catalpa Ridge over Woodmont 38-35. Indian Land 34, Eastside 7. Wren 41, Lancaster 21. These are scores courtesy of WRHI up in Rock Hill. They do a great job up there. Chester 44, Strom Thurmond 23. Louisville 66, Calhoun Falls nothing. Andrew Jackson 42, Liberty 17, Fairfield Central 60, Chesterfield 6, Cheraw 38, Edisto nothing, and in the fourth quarter, Central 38, Landrum 28, Lee Central beats Calhoun County 27-13. Let's see, some of these we've given you. River Bluff leading Malden 27-0 in the third. Burns 32, Lexington 11 in the fourth, and they have Spring Valley over Ridgeview 35-7 as a third quarter score. Abbeville 48-0 over C.A. Johnson in the fourth. HKT defeats McBee 54-21. And Westwood leading Socastee third quarter last time they had it 27-14. North Myrtle Beach over Lucy Beckham 42-28. White Knoll leading Lugoff Elgin 41-18 in the fourth. Chapin 17, Goose Creek 16 fourth quarter. Riverside 47, Greenville 38, Ashley Ridge 51, West Ashley 13. All right, let's go back to reporters as we have Hugh Gray. Not Hugh Grant. He was Hugh Grant last week. This week he is Hugh Gray from Newberry, covering Newberry and Georgetown. We prefer you over Hugh Grant any day, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Big win for Newberry tonight.
Yeah, big win. Georgetown came in. First time Newberry's played Georgetown in 40 years, so they didn't have a lot of experience recently. But Newberry takes the opening drive, opening kickoff, and drives down. B.J. Jones takes a screen pass and goes 30 yards for a score. Puts Newberry up 7-0, and that was the only scoring in the first quarter. But much like last week against Silver Bluff, Newberry kind of broke it open in the second quarter. Ty Abrams takes a 27-yard run off tackle for a score to make it 14-0. Then C.J. Earl takes a wide receiver screen, goes 37 yards, it's 21-0. And then on two consecutive drives, Georgetown throws interceptions to the Newberry defense, and then B.J. Jones again scores on a 31-yard run after the first interception and on a 20-yard run after the second interception. So we go to the break, 35-0. Georgetown gets the ball first in the second half. Newberry holds them. Georgetown punts to C.J. Earl, who returns at 46 yards for a touchdown to go up 42-0. A little excitement there in the third quarter. Georgetown blocks a punt by the backup punter for Newberry and gets the ball on Newberry's 2-yard line. Newberry's defense, though, stands up and actually pushes them back, stops them on fourth down, and then Newberry's offense takes over and drives the field Ty Abrams scores on a 5-yard run to make the final score 48-0. And Newberry just played real well on all three phases of the game tonight: offense, defense, and special teams. And so we're looking forward to a game next week, probably against Dillon up here at Mike Ware Field.
Well, be careful what you hope for, but yeah, it is going to be Dillon. They were leading Battery Creek by a pretty big number, and you guys will host. You'll host Dillon, huh? Boy, that's going to be, they'll bring a bunch. Dillon will bring a bunch of people, and I'm sure y'all will turn out big. That's a heck of a playoff win, though. That's a good way to get it rolling.
Yeah, we felt like we maintained some momentum from the regular season, but you're right. One of the coaches. One of the former coaches from Newberry and I were talking after the game, and he said, it's going to be a whole different animal next week. So Coach Dieter even said after the game, hadn't seen them a lot this year, but knows they're Dillon. They're fast and athletic, and so really got to be playing our best next week to bring that W home.
You think my comments at the Touchdown Club inspired the Newberry players to rise to greater heights?
I know so, because I saw several of those guys during the game with "My idol is Phil Kornbrut" stickers on the back of their helmets. So,
well, there you go. By the way, I heard that a deputy sheriff in Newberry reported seeing Bigfoot over there on Monday night. Now, I think it's just coincidence that I was in Newberry myself on Monday night, so I hope that he wasn't confused by,
Well, it's just it's indicative of your stature among the high school industry, the high school sports industry, that people see you as a 7.5 foot tall man creature.
Do you happen to know that deputy sheriff by chance?
I don't, and I've asked around, and no one seems to know that deputy sheriff. So.
Oh, okay. Did you ask the sheriff? Because he was at the meeting Monday night. Maybe. Yeah.
I did ask him actually. So.
He's not sure. Okay, I understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Hugh, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week. Great stuff.
All right. Thank you,
job. Thank you, buddy. All right. Yeah, we had a great time in Newberry last Monday night, and I think it's just a coincidence that Bigfoot was sighted the same night I was in Newberry. Just, strange things happen over there. And we'll be back.
.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, cultural enrichment, and all-inclusive fares. Discover more at Viking.com. Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, cultural enrichment, and all-inclusive fares. Discover more at Viking.com.
Trump said Friday that North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Trump's choice to head the Interior Department, will also head a newly created National Energy Council that will seek to establish U.S. energy dominance around the world. Trump said Burgum will oversee a panel that crosses all executive branch agencies involved in energy permitting, production, generation, distribution, regulation, and transportation. The Texas Supreme Court ruled that a legislative subpoena cannot be used to stop an execution, putting a decisive end to a legal battle that halted the scheduled execution of Robert Robertson last month. Robertson was sentenced to death in 2003 for killing his 2-year-old daughter. Prosecutors maintain she was a victim of shaken baby syndrome. Stocks fell their worst loss since Election Day ends the boost that Wall Street got last week victory for Donald Trump and a cut to interest rates by the Fed. The S&P 500 sank 1.3%. The Dow dropped 0.7%. This is SRN News.
This year I've given you so many reasons to try Balance of Nature, but I've got one now.
This is Ian with AccuClean. Regular carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning isn't just about keeping them looking beautiful and smelling fresh. It can also help to extend their life, which in turn saves money in the long run. Check out AccuClean today for our other services, such as mattress sanitation, odor and enzyme treatments, and leather cleaning and conditioning. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 for all your carpet cleaning needs and more. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of The Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, make this year extraordinary.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage, but if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452.
Offer triggered by credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Someone will be right with you.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the High School Football Scoreboard across the state of South Carolina, Sports Talk Media Network, and is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Make sure you go by and see the good folks at Founders and let them work with you, whatever you happen to need in the financial world. More than happy to take good care of you. Let's get back out to reporters. We'll catch you back up on some scores here in just a moment. But a lot of folks standing by to give us reports, so let's hear from them while we've got them. Richard Sally doing some SCISA work tonight. Bethesda and Calhoun Academy. Oh, no. Richard, I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm sorry. Hang on. We got a hot call. We got a hot call with Billy Baker from the High School Sports Report, hssr.com. Make sure you check it out online. Billy, good to have you with us. What you got tonight?
Phil, you may have remembered an outstanding football player at South Carolina, Devontae Holloman at South Carolina. He's now the head coach at Pinewood Prep.
Oh, yeah.
And after a 14-14 tie at halftime, they came back and won this game tonight 35-21. Got a lot of talent. The team is well coached. And you might also remember a big lineman of South Carolina, Gerald Singleton out of North Charleston. He has 2 sons on the team, and one of his sons rushed for about 120 yards on 12 carries, scoring touchdowns of 12 and 13. But Pinewood Prep is a team that's really outstanding. I think their best overall player really is 17, Hosea Kelly. He's a kid that goes about 6'4", 240. He had about 3 nice sacks tonight. Quarterback played extremely well. Asia Wyndham and a kid named Will Watson, number 7, must have had 4 or 5 outstanding tackles. But it was 14-14 at the half. But I'll tell you this, Pinewood Prep is well coached. They will play their state championship Saturday night at 7 p.m. at Charleston Southern. Who won that game, Coach? Wilson Hall won that game, so they'll be playing Wilson Hall. But I give you Coach Holloman very happy at Pinewood Prep. I will say this. This is the first high school game I've covered in 40 years where the White Hat got knocked cold in the first quarter. He left on a stretcher. Then a fan had a seizure in the stands.
The official went down?
For 15 minutes.
Whoa.
It was a very unusual game for the White Hat got knocked out of the game, and a fan also got carried off on a stretcher. But Pinewood wins tonight 35-21, and Pinewood Prep is loaded with some hardworking kids. Here's Coach Holloman from his office at Pinewood Prep.
All right, sir. Very good. Good to talk to Devontae Holloman once again. Good evening, Coach. How you doing? Congratulations.
Thank you. Feeling better after getting the win.
Well, I tell you, you've done a terrific job in a short time down there to get them to the state championship game. Billy touched on some of the key people. What about just the overall way you guys played tonight?
It was a fight. We played in a lot of games this year that have, kind of been blowouts, and you come in at halftime tied 14-14, you go ahead 21-14, and then turn the ball over on the fumble, and they pick it up and go back 21-21. So, our team is tough. We got a lot of tough kids on this team, and they didn't once hang their heads. They actually look forward to the competition and being in that spot for once, and I love the way we responded, not only the players but the coaches as well. We came in at halftime, locked in and honed in on what we wanted to do coming out in the second half, and we went out and executed.
To get to a state championship game so quickly in your time at Pinewood Prep, does this surprise you a little bit that you're playing for it all next week?
Not at all. We talked about this, or I talked about it when I first got the job, and our players and our coaching staff have been talking about it since we got bounced out the semifinals last year versus Hilton Head Christian. We knew we wanted to be in this spot, and we worked from off season January all the way up until this moment, and we got another big test in front of us next week to finish the job off.
Now let me think here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you head coach at South Point for a few years?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. Before and Buford, that's right. A couple of other stops. Coaching Skeeza after coaching high school league teams like that, you find much difference from a coaching standpoint?
It's a little different in terms of having to play some players both ways, but the love for football in Skeeza is I'm not gonna say just as much as the public school, but these kids love football. We had a nice crowd tonight. And a couple times this season, but the only difference is maybe the numbers wise, having to play players both ways. But again, man, I love my team, I love my staff, and we got a bunch of tough kids that don't complain. They don't get the recognition that others get, but they show up and play hard night in and night out, and play in and play out, and I love those guys.
All right, before I let you go, got to ask you this question. It's kind of personal. There are people saying that this year's South Carolina defense might be the best ever. Your reaction to that?
Hey, I hope so. We had our time, and it was a great time for us then, but, definitely rooting, for Clayton White, Travion Robertson, Sterling Lucas, those defensive guys to, continue and, the Gamecocks to win, Gamecock till I die, man. I want to see them win no matter what. And Coach Beamer, I love to see him smile and doing his thing. So, go Gamecocks this weekend, and, definitely want to get, this win versus Missouri, take care of business versus Wofford, and then go beat that other team in the state that I won't name at the moment.
Could you and Clowney and Gilmore, could y'all have gotten some playing time on this defense?
No, we had our time, man. Clowney and Gilmore doing their thing in the league, and like I said, man, I'm a Gamecock, and wishing Coach White and that defensive staff well. I know a lot of those guys, work with those guys, know a lot of those players because I've spent the year in South Carolina. So I'm always rooting for those guys. But me personally, I'm locked in and focused on next week versus Wilson Hall, and finishing this job with my coaches and my group of players that I love a lot.
I understand. I'm trying to see if you'll take the bait, but you won't, and I get it. You're totally focused on what's going on in your world. But it's great talking to you again, and good luck next week. And tell Billy thanks for getting you on with us. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all for having me. See y'all next week.
Take care, sir. Good luck. Congratulations again. Okay. Devontae Holloman, one of the outstanding players at South. I was trying to get him to say, no. That our defense was better than this defense. I mean, you look at the defense that he played on at South Carolina. I mean, him and Gilmore and Clowney and Taylor, the defensive ends. I mean, and others who I can't remember all of them. I mean, that was a nasty defense they had, nasty. But this one's pretty good too. So I was trying to see if he would get into a little tit for tat on that, but no. He's way too smart for that. The guy played for the Cowboys, so he's pretty smart dude. Okay, now, Richard, I hope you understand why we had to jump to the hot call. Richard Sally, also on the Skeezers side, Bethesda, Calhoun Academy tonight. And let's see, this would have been in the two-way playoffs. What you got for us, Richard?
That's right. Phil, Calhoun was hosting Bethesda out of Savannah in the second round of the playoffs. The winner is going to Charleston Southern for the state championship game next week. Calhoun came out very hot, had a real good start to the game. Opening drive of 51 yards. Chase Strickland finished that drive off with a 5-yard touchdown run. He also added the extra points for an early Calhoun 7-0 lead. Later in the second quarter, Chase again on a 4-yard run to make the score 13-0 for Calhoun there in the second quarter. Extra point failed. Finally, Bethesda got on the board with Jordan Turner to Raleigh Wesley on a fourth down conversion for a 35-yard touchdown pass that put Bethesda on the board. Pass to Christian Vaughn on the two-point conversion made it 13-8 Calhoun. Right before the end of the second quarter, Colt Layton intercepted a pass, returned it 70 yards all the way down to the Bethesda 7-yard line. Chase Strickland again took care of the last 7 yards into the end zone. Chase also on the two-point conversion put the Cavaliers up 21-8 at halftime. So the Cavaliers were looking strong. They run a special version of the wing T where they put two quarterbacks in the backfield. One's kind of a power guy, one's a quick guy, and it took a while for Bethesda to figure out exactly what they were doing. But Bethesda came out in the second half, returned the opening kickoff 65 yards for a touchdown. The two-point conversion failed, but Bethesda reduced the difference 21-14. First drive for Calhoun in that third quarter, an interception down to the 13-yard line where Bethesda, Jordan Turner, hit Raleigh Wesley for a touchdown. Here, Best on the two-point conversion put Bethesda up 22-21 after 3. In the fourth quarter, Bethesda continued on their big plays on a 35-yard touchdown pass from Jordan to Christian Vaughn to make the score 28-21. Two-point conversion from the here Best, 30-21 Bethesda. And then finally, one more big play for Bethesda, Raleigh Wesley on a 50-yard punt return. Just put it out of reach for Bethesda, and they take care of Calhoun there in the second half, 38-21.
All right, so they move on, and they're going to play for a state championship next week, and we look forward to hearing from you next week.
Well, the winner of PD and Greenwood, I believe, will face Bethesda. So I don't know if you got a score on that one or not.
Have not. But give me your final one more time.
38-21 Bethesda.
38-21 Bethesda. Okay, Richard, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Talk to you next week. All right, there you go. Another team moving to the state championship. Bethesda, 38-21 over Calhoun Academy. We better hit our break to stay on schedule. Then we'll come back with more reports. We got Monty Dutton standing by, Chris Deering standing by, Justin Mathis standing by. So you guys hold on to your hats, and we'll come to you after the break. Give you some more finals as we go into the break. South Florence 56, Brooklyn Casey 20, Hunter Connor Tyler 54, McBee 21. And JP, let's go ahead and hit our break here if we would. Abbeville 48 and C.A. Johnson nothing. Crescent 45, Union County 18, Westwood 34, Socastee 14, North Myrtle 42, Lucy Beckham 28, White Knoll 41, Lugoff Elgin 18, Chapin 17, Goose Creek 16, Riverside 47, Greenville 38, and Ashley Ridge 51, West Ashley 13, Ridgeview 55, Spring Valley 14. Be right back.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Did you know it's possible to avoid probate court after you die, regardless of what you own? Why put your loved ones through a long, stressful public process when there are better options for your family? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Welcome back in, everybody. It's the high school football scoreboard here across the state of South Carolina on the Sports Talk Media Network, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. And let's welcome in David Shelton as he makes his appearance for the first time tonight after covering a SCISA playoff game with it was Porter Gowd and Northwood Academy. David, good to have you with us. How things turn out in your game?
Porter Gowd defeated Northwood for the second time this year, 21-7. J.J. Flood rushed for 155 yards, and Porter Gowd's defense came up with 3 turnovers. So they're going to get Hammond next Friday night at Charleston Southern in a rematch of a game they played earlier this year where Hammond beat them 27-15. And, you know, Hammond is really good, but this Porter Gowd team's got a shot. The way they run the football and the way they play defense, they play extremely hard on defense. I think they feel like they've got a shot. They played very well tonight. Just really shut down Northwood. Northwood had a couple opportunities and just got stopped a couple times on 4th down and had some turnovers. And you know, Porter Gowd's 11-1 for a reason because they're pretty good.
Did you catch that Hammond score by chance?
Last I heard, it was like 50-something to 7.
Okay. Yep, sounds like they're going to win. I'm sure it's gone final by now. I was just trying to see if we had a final on that.
Yeah, I think it was 56-7 was the final. You said it.
Oh, did I?
You said it earlier. I heard you say it on the score thing.
I don't remember it 5 seconds after I say it. So, all right, 56-7. We'll put that down. Hammond over Augusta Christian. Stand by, David. We're going to go to Monty Dutton with us next as Clinton went out tonight and took care of business in the 2A playoffs. Welcome in, Monty. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I just thought about that's what our mutual friend Jim Phillips used to say at the start of every broadcast. And I think of him often, even now. The most important play in the Clinton game was with 17 seconds left in the first half when the quarterback Deshaun Richardson threw a 72-yard touchdown pass to Devin Swindler. I say that because what that meant was the clock ran the second half. And so Clinton had 473 yards, which wasn't bad for just play with the clock running constantly in the second half. It was the first time in quite a while that Javen Cook didn't lead Clinton in rushing. I think it's only the second time all year, and he was fine. He scored 2 touchdowns, but he had 40 yards, and Clinton had 6 backs with 40 or more, and KJ Vance had 98 in 3 carries tonight. So they led the Red Devils. I wanted to tell you also, because I've been listening to a lot of Skeezer results, I hate to quote the final score, but Lawrence Academy upset Jefferson Davis and will go to the 8-man state finals. But that's I think that's a fairly significant upset.
Yes.
But Richardson, the Clinton quarterback, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He is, by the way, one of the top 5 in 2A in basketball because they have the gathering in Columbia, I think, on Wednesday. But Richardson was 4 of 7 tonight, had the 72-yard touchdown pass, and he rushed for 2 carries for 59 yards, including one of them was 40 and the other 19. So the Red Devils, I wrote, I can't say it's one of my better headlines, but it's one of my favorite headlines. For the game advance, my headline said, "Come to Wilder Stadium for at least a half." and that's about the way it was. Clinton overwhelmed. Pelion, they had their moments, but they didn't score. And it's the first time, I've got to look this up, it's the first time Clinton's had a shutout, I think, in quite some time. But anyway, it was a. Also, I have to say, if I'm a little cynical, I was really missing being at the Well to watch Furman beat Tulane tonight. So duty. The Red Devils are big on my website, and so duty called, and also Wilder Stadium is like a mile from my house. So I saved a little money for gas anyway.
Well, that's a big win for the Purple Pride. That's a big win on the hardwood for them.
Considering that they lost 4 of their top 5 scorers from last year's team, they're quite the surprise. I watched them play. I watched them beat Jacksonville earlier this week, and they're a lot bigger, and they look really good.
Okay, Monty, you look really good too, and we appreciate you being with us. We'll talk to you next week.
I think if anybody was going to be mistaken for Bigfoot, it would have been me, not you.
I just thought it was an interesting coincidence that I'm in Newberry Monday night and some deputy sheriff says out in the woods he saw Bigfoot, and I just didn't know if he
probably distracted him because his target was you. That's law enforcement purpose.
Do you know this deputy sheriff, by the way? Do you know who it is?
No, I don't know. He changed the course of history. All right.
See you later. All right. We appreciate it. For those of you who don't know what the heck we're talking about, there was a story, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, and this made national news, David, that a deputy sheriff in Newberry County was out hunting or something, claimed to have seen Bigfoot. And
why didn't you shoot him?
I don't know. Freaked out or something. I don't know.
Is it illegal? Is it illegal to shoot Bigfoot?
I don't know, but this reporter had all kind of statistics about the number of Bigfoot sightings there have been across the country. over the last couple of years, and like it was the second or
Oh,
third
yeah.
one in South Carolina.
There's more than one. There's not just one Bigfoot. There's they've multiplied over the last 100 years. So
you think it's a family?
Yeah, well, I think it's a family tree. I think it just keeps going and going and going.
Okay, you sound like you.
I have no factual basis for that. I'm just talking.
That's just your opinion. Okay, Hampton County wins tonight 42-21 over Woodland. Hampton County will travel to Manning next week for round number 2. Let's see here. Have we got time? No, I tell you what, I don't want to cheat anybody, so those of you on hold, hang on. We'll get to you right after the top of the hour break. I don't want to have to squeeze you in, so hang on. But I will squeeze in a few more scores here that we've gotten. In overtime, May River beat Bluffton 46-45. Heck of a game there. And River Bluff over Malden 36-6. Final score. Fort Dorchester beat Stratford 20-10. And looking for any new scores we've just posted here recently. Waccamaw 43, Swansea 23, Oceanside 56, Fox Creek 16. Belton Honeypath 63, Southside Christian 20. We've got all the 5A playoff scores in, so we'll go through those in mass. When we come back, we got to plot in one more in 4A, one more in 3A. We'll have that complete. A couple to go in 2A. Missing quite a few in 1A. We got to concentrate on that in the break, and just a couple in Skeeza. So we're going to catch up on all the playoff action, hear more from David, get more reports as well as we continue here on the high school football scoreboard. It's the opening night of the playoffs across the state for the high school league teams, and it's the semifinal night for Skeeza. And we'll be back after this top of the hour break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Townhall.com. I'm Ron Taylor. Speaker Mike Johnson says he opposes the release of an unpublished House report on former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, President-elect Trump's choice for Attorney General.
Speaking with reporters at the Capitol, Johnson said, quote, "This is not the way we do things in the House, and I think that it would be a terrible precedent to set." Johnson spoke just hours after attending a Mar-a-Lago event hosted by Trump. The ethics panel was previously scheduled to meet on Friday regarding the report, but Chair Michael Guest of Mississippi said that the meeting had been postponed, though not canceled. Johnson said he plans to talk to Guest, but does not know when.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett reporting. Also at townhall.com, Americans are showing their willingness to spend. Here's Jackie Quinn.
The Commerce Department says retail purchases rose 0.4% from September to October. Auto dealers, restaurants, and electronics stores all reported higher sales, although not as strong as the August to September period. Despite inflation leaving prices about 20% higher than they were 3 years ago, the latest retail sales figures suggest the economy is growing briskly again. Retailers are entering the crucial holiday shopping period. Analysts are forecasting a solid shopping season, although perhaps not as robust as last year's. I'm Jackie Quinn.
General Motors is laying off about 1,000 workers worldwide, shedding costs as it tries to compete in a crowded global automobile market. The workers are mostly salaried, but blue-collar workers were affected as well. They were told of the moves earlier today. Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati asked Iran to help secure a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hezbollah. He appeared to be urging it to press the militant group, a close ally of Iran, to agree to a deal that could require it to pull back from the Israeli-Lebanon border. According to Lebanese media, the U.S. gave Lebanese officials a draft of a proposed ceasefire that would require them to search a larger area.
If you are 65 or older, you know this. Inflation is hitting everyone hard right now, especially when it comes to health care. Over the last 10 years, health care costs have skyrocketed by, get this, 230%. If you have Medicare Parts A and B, you know there are still out-of-pocket expenses like deductibles and co-payments, and they really add up. But here's some good news. MediShare 65 Plus is designed to fill in those gaps and help protect you from rising healthcare costs. At only $99 per month up to age 75, you get peace of mind at a price you can afford. And MediShare is trusted, too. It's been around 30 years. It's not some big impersonal thing. It's a community of people helping each other, business owners, pastors, retirees. People love it. MediShare 65 Plus just makes sense. To learn more, give them a call. They're great to talk to. They'll offer to pray with you each time you call, too. Call now, 855-SALM-32. That's 855-PSALM-32. 855-SALM-32.
A Pakistani province declared a healthy emergency Friday due to smog and imposed a shutdown in 2 major cities.
It's been more than 2 weeks since dense clouds of pollution set in and air quality readings in Lahore started to spike. The province's authorities have stopped construction activities and closed brick kilns and furnace-burning industries until the 23rd of November in Lahore and Multan. Authorities have planned a 3-day lockdown in the cities from next Friday, which could come earlier depending on how the smog develops. Across the province, schools, colleges and universities will remain closed until the end of next week.
BBC correspondent Caroline Davies reporting. President Biden praised the cooperation between South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. at countering what he described as North Korea's dangerous and destabilizing cooperation with Russia. Biden spoke at the start of a meeting Friday in Peru. You'll find more online at srn@townhall.com. I'm Ron Taylor. Germany's chancellor has talked with Russia's Vladimir Putin.
Struggling to find a fun spot for Fido when vacation calls? Say bon voyage to your worries with a pause paradise. Whether it's for a weekend getaway or a full holiday escapade, your furry friend will be wagging with excitement. Daily doggy daycare or extended stays, we make every moment a tail-wagging adventure. Discover more at apauseparadise.com or fetch us a call at 551-0323. It's not just a stay, it's a holiday for your pooch.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
It's a Friday night in South Carolina, and that means high school football. Welcome to the Founders Federal High School Scoreboard with Phil Kornblut and David Shelton. We've got all the scores from across the state, plus game reports and interviews with coaches. The High School Scoreboard is proudly brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now, let's head to the Scoreboard Studios in Columbia. Here's Phil Kornblut.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's hour number 2, the High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Phil Kornblut in Pittsburgh, and J.P. Barry back at our studios in Columbia, and David Shelton down in Charleston. And folks standing by to give us reports. Going to get to you in just a second. Let me do the score whip around here real quick to give you everything that we've got. We've got most everything in and plotted and up to date. So in your 5A Division I playoffs, Boiling Springs 32, Dorman nothing, River Bluff 36, Malden 6, Clover 31, Blythewood 28, Burns 32, Lexington 11, Fort Dorchester 20, Stratford 10, Ridgeview 55, Spring Valley 14, James Island 24, Wando 2, and Ashley Ridge 51, West Ashley 13. David Shelton, your thoughts? First night, 5A, Division I playoffs.
Nothing surprising there. All those teams that won were pretty much expected to win. I said on Sports Talk, I thought Boiling Springs Dorman would be a good game. It wasn't, but Boiling Springs got a really good playoff win.
Let's go to Division II. Indian Land 34, Eastside 7, Hillcrest 48, Nation Ford 23, Catawba Ridge 38, Woodland 35, Riverside 47, Greenville 38, Chapin 17, Goose Creek 16, North Myrtle 42, Lucy Beckham 28, Westwood 34, Socastee 14, and White Knoll 41, Lugoff Elgin 18. At least you had a handful of really tight ones in Division 2.
Yeah, some close games, no real upsets. The favored teams, pretty much that people thought would win, but there were some closer games.
To 4A, West Side 55, Lakewood nothing. AC Flora 40, Emerald 20, Camden 43, Pickens 17, Wren 41, Lancaster 21, Greer 28, Fountain Inn 21, South Point 77, Blue Ridge nothing. Richland Northeast 22, Seneca 20, Daniel 45, Dreer 14, Hartsville 45, Beaufort 21, Darlington 23, Midland Valley 15, Hilton Head 19, Crestwood 17, South Florence 56, Brooklyn Casey 20, Gilbert 41, Lower Richland 20, Bishop England 42, South Aiken 19. In overtime, May River 46, Bluffton 45, and North Augusta 56, Airport nothing. All right, David, thoughts there? I would say just what stood out to me here really was Richland Northeast going up to Seneca and pulling out a 2-point win. That one kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, that's probably, it's not a huge upset, but that's probably the one that people will raise their eyebrow at. Seneca coming off that loss to Daniel last week, not sure, and plus facing a quarterback like Wilson at Richland Northeast is a tough challenge in the first round. And the other game was the May River Bluffton game. With the way the playoffs are set up, that's two region games, two region teams playing each other, and they're like neighbors. So, nobody had to travel very far, but big win for May River.
No question about that. Okay, we go to the 3A ranks, and it was Mountain View 42, Carolina nothing, Crescent 45, Union County 18, Christchurch 42, West Oak 2, Powdersville 37, Broome 13, Woodruff 28, Pendleton 21, Palmetto 29, Chapman 15, Belton Honeypath 63, Southside Christian 20. I don't think we ever give BHP enough love. Hanahan 35, River Bluff 10, Orangeburg Wilkinson 35, Aner 16, Keenan 58, North Charleston 8, Newberry 48, Georgetown nothing, Dillon 42, Battery Creek 7, Waccamaw 43, Swansea 23, and Oceanside 56, Fox Creek 16. What about that group? Belton Honeypath. Now, Southside Christian now playing up, so obviously not the power they were when they were 1A, but BHP having another big year and someone you got to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, I think they've been ranked in the top 2 or 3 the whole year, and they're ranked number 1 right now with Mountain View right behind them. So, they're doing what we thought they would do. It gets a little tougher as you move forward. But a quick note on that Oceanside Fox Creek game. Oceanside had, I think, 46 points after the first quarter.
Oh.
And I can't remember if it was 46, but I think it was 50-0 at halftime. And then they just, they ran the clock or whatever. But I was watching that. I get Twitter updates, and it's like every minute and a half, there was an update that Oceanside scored. And they were blocking punts, returning fumbles, throwing touchdowns. It was crazy what they were doing tonight.
By the way, that Burns game we mentioned a moment ago, I just read this, didn't realize this. They played that game because Nixon Field is being rebuilt, so they don't have a home field, but they played that game over at Presbyterian College. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. And just got the Walhalla final. Walhalla edges St. Joseph's 36-35. So, kind of a mixed bag, David. The private schools and the charter schools who are we've had to move up because of the counter. Couple of them are winning, Mountain View and Oceanside. Couple of them are losing, Southside Christian and St. Joseph's. Christ Church won. So, I mean, I guess there's no rhyme or reason. I guess it just depends on the team and the quality of the team and how you're able to handle playing up against schools that have a greater enrollment than you, person by person, but you're having to play up because of the multiplier.
Yeah, so it's the system we have right now. It'll probably change, but it's the one we have right now.
That's right. Get the right person mad enough, and it'll change. Okay, to 2A, it was Clinton over Pelion, 56-0. Chester 44, Strom Thurmond 23. Batesburg-Leesville 42, Columbia 6. You just can't score on the Panthers. Andrew Jackson 42, Liberty 17. Fairfield Central 60, Chesterfield 6. Chesney 26, 96-21. Central 36, Landrum 26. Saluda 24, Mid Carolina nothing. Timberland 20, Lake City 15. Sherrall 45, Edisto nothing. East Clarendon 14, Andrews 12. Manning 55, North Central nothing. Hampton County 42, Woodland 21. Philip Simmons 45, Mullins 12, and Kingstree 34. Well Branch 18. Looking for a Barnwell Academic Magnet score. Have you heard that one by chance?
I never heard a final, but they were well in control the last tweet I saw.
All right. And how about Kingstree getting a playoff win?
Yeah, good for them. I mean, that's a good win. I think that Lake City win, the Timberland win over Lake City is a good win. And the game I was trying to come up with when we were on Sports Talk tonight that I thought was the best matchup of the night was Chester Strom Thurmond.
Yeah.
And Chester comes up and beats Strom Thurmond. And, Strom Thurmond, if they play just about anybody else in the bracket, they probably win. Chester's a pretty good team, but Strom Thurmond they had only lost to Batesburg and Saluda, so they were pretty solid.
Do have that final now. Barnwell 42, Academic Magnet nothing. So 5A, Division 1 and 2, 4A, 3A, 2A, those are all complete. We have just a few holes here in the 1A bracket, so we're going to work on that, but I'll give you what we've got. Abbeville 48, C.A. Johnson nothing. Lamar 62, Whitmire nothing. Lee Central 27, Calhoun County 13. Hunter Connor Tyler 54, McBee 21. Dixie 42, Williston Elko nothing. Louisville 66, Calhoun Falls nothing. Cross 48, Greensea Floyd's nothing. Johnsonville 43, Branchville 41. Heck of a game. Baptist Hill shuts out Latta 16-0. And did you just put in what? Blackville Hilda? Blackville Hilda 45, McCormick 6. I think that's a new score. And we'll get these other ones, but take away from 1A, I guess Johnsonville holding off Branchville is a heck of a game, David. And Dixie's having a special year.
Oh, yeah, Dixie's got a good club. Jamie Nichols told me in the preseason at Abbeville, he was like, Dixie is going to be legit. And another team having a great year that's kind of under the radar is Hunter Tyler, HKT.
Yeah.
They got some players. I talked to a coach this week that said, no, they're legit. I just got a note from the Barnwell game. They had 6-minute running clock in the second half for the third 6-minute clock. And Barnwell did not run an offensive play in the entire second half. and still won 42-0. And their quarterback, Cam Austin, 320 yards, 5 touchdowns in the first half. So I don't know that I know about running clocks, but I don't think I've ever heard about 6-minute running clocks. That's half of what a quarter would be.
But explain to me, you just said that Barnwell did not run an offensive play in the second half?
Yeah, that's what it says. It says did not run an offensive play in the second half. I guess Magnet had it for the third quarter for 6 minutes, and then flipped it to the fourth quarter and had it again. I mean, I don't know, but that's what it says. but I knew. I mean, Baltimore was my pick to win Lower State, so that was a good and easy playoff win. But it'll get tougher. You got Hampton County down in the Lower State. You got Philip Simmons is pretty good down there. Manning is having a great year. So it's going to be competitive once we get into the second, third, fourth round.
All right, Skeeza. These are all semifinals. 4A, Hammond 56, Augusta Christian 7, Portugal 21, Northwood Academy 7. In the 3A playoffs, it's Pinewood Prep over Northside Christian 35-21. We know Wilson Hall beat Hilton Head Christian, just need a score, but we know they won. And PD Academy in 2A 68, Greenwood Christian 33, Bethesda Academy 38, Calhoun Academy 21. Do not have the 1A scores in yet. In 8-man, Richard Wynn over Wardlaw 31-12, and we know that Lawrence Academy beat Jefferson Davis. Just got to find the score. Okay, that's the scoreboard. So let's take a quick call here before we hit the breaks. We can get everybody in, so everybody hang on. Chris Deering on hand at the AC Flora Emerald game tonight in Columbia. Good to have Chris with us to tell us about Flora's 40-20 win tonight, doubling them up. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Phil. I need to find out how to get on this express line like Billy Baker. I mean, my gosh.
Hey, man, it's called paying the price. Just like when you were a standout defensive tackle at Berkeley High School, I'm sure that who was the coach? That was I
was under Gerald Moody way back in the day.
Gerald Moody, Hall of Fame coach. I'm sure he told you to pay the price, buckle up, and get it done.
Well, I'm glad to be on the phone.
Look,
So
just consider being on hold. But consider being on hold with us the same thing as taking a flight to China.
It's about the same amount of time, I'll be honest.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so tonight the AC Flora maybe put together one of their better games of the season. They're 8-3, but their defense has been sort of maligned. They've given us a lot of points, but they shut out Emerald in the second half. And Charlie Roper Winsky, not Charlie Winsky, Roper Winsky. He threw for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns. Solomon Kelson had 19 carries, 168 yards, and a touchdown. It was tied 20-20 at the half. I thought I was in for sort of a shootout in the second half. I thought maybe the last team to have the football might win this one. But AC Flora's defense, like I said, they really came out to play in that second half. They held Emerald to just over 100 yards of total offense, and Winsky went to work. He only threw the ball 4 times in the second half, but he was 4 for 4 for 109 yards in that second half, and he threw an 11-yard touchdown to Javier Dubose, and then a 56-yard touchdown to Kendall Bird, and Kelson had a touchdown run there in the second half as well. So big second half for the Falcons. They advance next week to go on the road to play Westside, so that's going to be a tough one. But again, a good performance by them tonight.
Well, okay. So, what does that mean for them next week? I think you said they're going to be on the road next week, and they go and play. Oh yeah, they get to go play Westside.
Yeah, they get to play Westside. They might score some points. Their offense has been really good this year. They got 2 really good running backs in Solomon Kelson and B.J. Mack. And Roper Winsky, he's thrown for 500 yards in a game this season. So he's over 2,000 yards on the year. He had a really good night. He didn't have to throw it much tonight. He only threw the ball 16 times. So they might be able to score some points, but, man, that West Side offense could be hard to stop. It'll be their biggest challenge. And like I said, they've given up in some of their games this year. They've given up 44, 56, and 62 points. And so that's going to be a tough challenge for that defense next week against Westside.
We appreciate your patience, man. Thank you, and we'll look for you next week.
All right, sounds good. Y'all have a great weekend.
And we'll give you hot call status. We'll give you hot call status next week.
Appreciate that. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you. All right, Chris Deering from the Prep Red Zone. Got a few more single A playoff final scores, courtesy of Channel 13 in Florence. Cross over Green Sea Floyd's 48-0. Hannah Pamplico 43, Military Magnet 6. Carver's Denmark-Oler 26, Carver's Bay 16, Lakeview 36, Hardyville 7, and I think we gave you all these. Skeeza PD Academy 69, Greenwood Christian 13. So that catches us up on those games from down the PD way. Let's hit the break, and we'll come back with more reports. We'll exhaust all our reporters here over the next little bit. So you guys on hold, just hang in there. Nothing's going to get in your way except for David, because he is the star of the show. I'm just here to make coffee for him. That's all we do. We make coffee. We get out of David's way, because David is the star. More David Shelton coming up after the break.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Farm Bureau insurance agents live and work right in our community. They're not at the end of some 1-800 number thousands of miles away. The personalized attention, competitive rates, and a reputation for fast, fair claim service sets Farm Bureau insurance apart from the competition. For your auto, home, and life insurance needs, trust Farm Bureau Insurance. In Clinton and Lawrence, give Buddy Bridges a call at 864-984-0413 or stop by the office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence to see how local makes a difference.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler-Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Founders Federal Credit Union believes in empowering future generations, helping to provide our youth a smart start as they begin their financial journey. Discover Smart Start by Founders. Start off with Smart Start savings with a low minimum balance of just $5. Teach responsible spending with a free debit card, text alerts, and no minimum balance. Jumpstart a lifetime of saving and investing with a Smart Start 12-month certificate featuring flexible deposits. Start with just $100 and add more deposits at any time. Finally, dive in deeper with fun educational resources. Founders is excited to team up with you with resources and support to give our youth a smart start towards a brighter tomorrow. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back, everybody. High School Football Scoreboard Show brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union here on the Sports Talk Media Network. And before we get to the bottom of the hour break, let's continue with our reports. And JP, you're going to tell me where we're going to go next because I accidentally closed my sheet and I've lost my list of callers. Travis Jenkins, the veteran one. Not that veteran, but veteran enough. And Where were you tonight? I'm trying to remember. I had it on the list, but I don't remember. Where were you tonight?
Tonight.
I'm sorry I lost you there. Say again.
Chester Strom Thurmond.
Oh, okay. Well, you had a dandy. Tell us about that if you can. We got about 3 minutes.
Sure. Chester comes out with a 44-23 win tonight over the Rebels. Cyclones had a nice opening drive. Went 59 yards in 9 plays. Trooper Floyd caps it with a 1-yard touchdown. 8-0 Sykes. Strom Thurmond answers, and this is a team that's just looking at their stats, primarily a running team. They had no success on the ground tonight against Chester, but they've got a north-south receiver, I think, in Jay Sewell, and he had a huge game, 34-yard touchdown to tie the game up. Chester scores to go up 14-8, and then Strom Thurmond, right at the end of the half, has like an 8-minute drive, scores with under a minute to go, another touchdown from Sewell, and they actually took a 16-14 lead into the break. Then they got the ball first to start the second half, had a drive that took up over 6 minutes, but ultimately turned it over on downs. And from that point on, Chester outscored them 30-7. Did it with huge plays. Caleb Feaster, who'd been out for about 5 weeks, Phil, he had 4 carries tonight for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
I have a book. I have a book here somewhere. I think it says that's good.
Yeah.
From what I can see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Averaged over 41 a carry, had touchdowns of 59, 23, and 71 yards. Trooper Floyd had a 57-yard touchdown pass to Zeke Evans. Hadafa Taylor had a touchdown for Chester. So really what happened, Chester started the year ranked at number 1 in 2A, then they went 4 and 5. I would just tell you that when they can roll out their top 22, they can beat anybody in 2A, anybody. I think they showed that tonight. Strom Thurmond is a terrific team. They weren't healthy most of the year. Trooper Floyd missed a month. Feaster missed 5 weeks. Amari Nesmith, who's the best big play receiver, he was out for 5 or 6 weeks. They had a couple of offensive linemen that were out. They're completely healthy now, and they had 3 weeks in between their last game and this playoff opener, so well rested too. They've got as tough a path as anybody in the state, I think, to get where they want to go, because they get Clinton this coming week. They win that, probably got Batesburg waiting on them, and then if they win that,
Hi, I'm Tazima. Join me every.
Yep, you're right. It's a tough road to hoe. Travis, thank you. Appreciate it very much. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll be right back.
And failure. It's Small Business Saturday right here at 100.7 The Point.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
You love them enough to do anything for them.
Mom, I need to be wiped. Coming.
Including checking NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Fell to their worst loss since Election Day. The S&P 500 sank 1.3% Friday to close a losing week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropping 0.7%, of the NASDAQ Composite falling 2.2%. President-elect Trump said yesterday that North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Trump's choice to head the Interior Department, will also head a newly created National Energy Council that will seek to establish U.S. energy dominance around the world. Trump said Burgum will oversee a panel that crosses all executive branch agencies involved in energy permitting, production, generation, distribution, regulation, and transportation. The Texas Supreme Court ruled that a legislative subpoena cannot be used to stop an execution, putting a decisive end to a legal battle that halted the scheduled execution of Robert Robertson last month. Robertson was sentenced to death in 2003 for killing his 2-year-old daughter. Prosecutors maintain she was a victim of shaken baby syndrome. This is SRN News.
Hi, everyone. If you or someone you know were diagnosed with
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used the point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with the point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
Rita, hard head, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Former CIA officer Jason Hansen here. As someone who's dedicated my life to protecting people, I know the importance of guarding what matters most. Right now, with global instability and the dollar's declining value, that means securing your financial assets with gold. For me, I trust Advantage Gold with my own investments. Give them a call at 800-900-8000 for a 100% free gold guide. Again, call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 today.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicated with future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, cultural enrichment, and all-inclusive fares. Discover more at Viking.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, cultural enrichment, and all-inclusive fares. Discover more at Viking.com.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
All right, we are rolling through this edition of the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union on this Friday night. Phil Kornblut, David Shelton, and J.P. Barry back at our studios in Columbia. I promised we'd roll through these reports, and we thank everybody who's been holding. And we reward Justin Mathis, who's going to join us, tell us about the Dorman game tonight. And the season came to a crashing conclusion for the Cavaliers tonight.
Yes, it did, Phil. But before I get into that, you're talking about the hot call status. Could I put in a reservation for 2025?
Yes, you may. We'll take it under consideration.
Thank you.
But to have a hot call, you got to be, first of all, you got to be Billy Baker on the field with a coach and the player ready to jump on the show. That's what generates a hot call.
Yeah, yes, sir. I understand. Yeah. We'll try and figure something out for next year. But,
okay.
Phil, you mentioned just a rough way to end the season at home for the Dorman Cavaliers at the hands of a team that's in their region, the Bowling Springs Bulldogs, 32-0. Just quite honestly, from about the second quarter on, I don't know if there's really much way to say it than so many things went in Bowling Springs' favor. So many things went against Dorman. Just had 3 interceptions. I think 2 of them got converted into 10 points right there near the end of the first half. Lincoln Husky, the southpaw for the Bulldogs at quarterback, went 19-26, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, both Kyle Patterson his number one target at receiver. David Chim added a rushing touchdown. I mean, just all around performance for the Bulldogs, and they toss a shutout in the first round of the playoffs. For Dorman, can't take away from what they were able to do throughout the second half of the season, where they made some adjustments. They changed their offense to tailor more to the personnel they had, and and if things worked, they went on the road to Gaffney, which is a hard place to play at, beat Gaffney over there 9-7, in the midst of that 3-game winning streak to close out the regular season. But, all in all, I think it's a pretty successful year for Coach Jake Morris in his second year leading his alma mater here at Dorman High School, and just stinks to see it come to an end for all the seniors here, like linebacker Drew Darby, who unfortunately had to exit the game after the first half due to an undisclosed injury. That stinks to see senior play his last game and leave a game early, not on his terms. But just all salute to these seniors for what they're able to do. And also, Phil, before I sign off, I want to slip this in there.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Chesney Eagles. With their first-year head coach, Brett Chappell, picked up a big win in the playoffs in 2A level tonight. Just salute to Brett Chappell. His first year at the helm of the Eagles came down here from Pisgah High School, if I recall correctly. But get to talk to Coach Chappell every week, and he's doing good things over there in Chesney too. So,
all right, hey, we appreciate it all season long, Justin. Great job as always. Keep in touch. If you get to a game next week as a reporter or an observer, let us know. Love to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Okay. David, your thoughts on how Boiling Springs just took it to Dorman tonight? I know at one point earlier in the year, Boiling Springs was playing at a very high level.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a really good – Matt Reel has done a really good job, good turnaround. This Dorman team, even though they beat Gaffney, that was kind of an outlier. I never got the feeling that Dorman was going to be a great team. And I think Boiling Springs was just a better team tonight. And as you heard Justin say, everything that needed to go right did, and that's football. I mean that's just kind of the way the playoffs work. You can be a pretty good team and not play well, and you get your butt beat.
Mm-hmm. Finally gotten the score on that Wilson Hall Hilton Head Christian game. Wilson Hall wins it 21-9. So we're still looking for finals on 3 Skeeza games: Dorchester and Thomas Hayward, Buford Academy and Williamsburg, and Lawrence and Jefferson Davis, though we do know that Lawrence won. We're still trying to get those scores plotted. Let's go next to
I just had a great thought as I was listening to Justin Mathis. The quarterback at AC Florida is Roper Winsky, and he is the son of Charlie Winsky, who is associate commissioner at the high school league that does a lot of these appeals, and investigations for illegal transfers and ineligible players. How cool would it be if Roper transferred to Gray Collegiate next year?
and Charlie had to move?
That's just kind of the things I think about while I'm on hold.
Yeah. Keep your mind worn that way. That's good. We don't want the mind to slow down. We got a final here. Thomas Hayward beat Dorchester Academy 49-14. So they're rolling. They'll be hard to beat in the state championship game next week against either Buford Academy or Williamsburg Academy. We're trying to get that score. In the meantime, we go to Thomas Grant from the Prep Red Zone, who was out on the somewhere out and about in South Carolina tonight watching the game. Thomas, where were you tonight?
Well, tonight I was at Cecil Wilbard Field, and game you could say truly was a tale of two halves between Chapin and Goose Creek. First half was basically all Chapin. I mean, it started off where they got off to after a scoreless first quarter. They scored 17 points in the second quarter on a 2-yard touchdown run by Tanner Short. They got a field goal by Will Robinson, and then also got a 37-yard touchdown pass from Brady Albro to Kalen Bostic. And that was the halftime score. And then as the second half started, it looked like they were headed to another score on a you could say, a pretty close call in the end zone where Albro lofted basically a perfect pass to Stone Fleury, who basically made a sliding catch. It looked like he had both of his feet in bounds, but when it was a fourth down play, but instead it was ruled incomplete. And it's from that point on, it just seemed like the game turned. From there, both teams had an exchange of turnovers. Chapin had a fumble, and then in the very next play, it ended up getting an interception, but they weren't able to score. And then you had quarterback for Goose Creek, who basically rallied this team from their deficit. He threw a long completion that set up their first touchdown. It was Malik McGowan. He scored on a touchdown run. They were able to get the ball back again, and they were able to get the ball back again and get another score, this time on a touchdown pass from Kamani to Jalen Grant, but they missed the extra point to make it 17-13. Then Chapin, Albro first throws an interception. It gets returned, but it gets called back on a pass interference penalty. Then he throws his next pass almost in a similar way, where it also gets tipped by his own receiver and gets caught by the Goose Creek defender, who returns it. And then that sets up a 23-yard touchdown pass from Kamani that actually sets up a field goal. They had to settle for a field goal, which made it 17-16. And that's where things really started to get interesting towards the end, because it was a case of Chapin was trying to run out the clock. They then had another fumble where Goose Creek had an opportunity to score that got to around the 5-yard line, but then had to settle for a field goal, but this time it was blocked. So Chapin looked to run out the clock. They were forced to punt with about less than 2 minutes left. Goose Creek had an opportunity to drive downfield. But the problem was they had no timeouts. So as the clock ticked away, they were able to actually get to the 5-yard line with about 4 seconds left, pick up a first down. But because of not having any timeouts, at the time, I guess they thought the clock would stop and they would have a chance for a potential game-winning field goal. Instead, the officials ruled that the clock had run out. So Chapin escapes with the win, and now they get a rematch with their District 5 rival, Irma.
Wow, what a finish. So the game ended with Goose Creek at the 5-yard line trying to rush and get a field goal off, and they just couldn't get down there and do it.
No, they had they had ruled that the time had expired. And so they ended up they actually had to line. Basically, the officials had to line up to make sure that the clock had run out. Mm-hmm. Because the funny thing was, when Goose Creek was about to attempt it, they ended up getting called for a penalty, for a false start. But then that's when they ruled that the time had expired, so they would not allow them to get the potential game winner.
Wow, what a finish! What a heartbreak, and also what a thrilling win. Thomas, we thank you very much, sir. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Thomas Grant from the Prep Red Zone. Let's squeeze in one more before the break. It's Garrett Mitchell time from up at Woodruff tonight. Wolverines continue to do their thing. Garrett, welcome in.
Hey, Phil. Hope your week went well. And yeah, it was another Woodruff win tonight, but in the interest of honesty, it was not one that came easy. Pendleton came into the game 4-5, and really, when you looked at their scores down the home stretch of the season, they had really struggled to score the football. But they were battling some injuries, and they'd had some key pieces come back last week. They were a little more healthy, but it still looked like the game might get away from them early. Woodruff got the ball first, went right down the field in 5 plays and scored, forced a 3-and-out for Pendleton, and went right down and scored again. So it's 14-0 Woodruff 6 minutes into the ball game. They force another Pendleton punt. So you're looking at a 14-0 game and Woodruff with the ball, and it's very real chance that they put Pendleton down 3 scores less than 10 minutes into the ball game. But credit to the Bulldogs, their defense clamped down, and they had a couple of nice stops that kept Woodruff off the scoreboard. 21-6 at halftime. Woodruff was still in good shape, and the defense was playing very, very well. But a couple of key defensive players got banged up a little bit. They were unable to come back in tonight, and that really kind of opened the door for the Bulldogs. They came out in the third quarter, went right down the field. They scored, went for 2 and got it. It's 21-14. Forced another 3 and out, and then chewed up about 8 minutes off the clock and converted on a back shoulder fade on 4th and 5 for the tying score. So, at this point, the natives are getting a little restless in Woodruff, but the Wolverines, they responded, went right down the field. They rode our big sophomore running back, Aiden Gibson, 2 more touchdowns tonight. He scored what turned out to be the game winner with a little over 9 minutes to play. And then Pendleton kept the ball the rest of the game. Just a long, methodical drive, eating up the clock. They wound up on Woodruff's 30-yard line, 3rd and 13, a minute and a half to play, and they went for the home run. Credit to them. They went to the end zone, and quarterback just overthrew it, and safety was there waiting on it and picked it off, ran it back to about midfield, and that was that. So Woodruff escapes 28-21, and they'll head to Powdersville next week.
Wow, heck of a ball game. Excellent effort by those Bulldogs of Pendleton, but Woodruff comes up with a big defensive play at the end, and they advance. And you're right, they'll play Powdersville. That's probably going to be a high-scoring game next week, I would say. They better check the light bulbs on the scoreboard.
Right. You've got 2 really, really good offenses. Defenses, when you look at the numbers, are rather comparable to one another. So it should be a good game. And I'll throw this in. I want to throw this in very quickly just as a shout-out to sophomore running back Aiden Gibson for Woodruff. Really just unprecedented what this young kid's been able to do. With his 2 touchdowns tonight, he's up to 26 touchdowns on the year, 23 rushing, 3 receiving. He is 3 touchdowns shy of tying the single-season touchdowns record for Woodruff. That record is held by Tony Rice.
Ooh.
And it stood for 40 years.
Ooh.
So Aiden Gibson with a really, really good chance to break a record that has stood for a very long time. And just a 10th grader, he's approaching 1,500 yards rushing in 10 games. People need to start looking out for this young man. He's the real deal.
I tell you what, I don't want to be the guy to scratch through Tony Rice's name in the Woodruff record book. I mean, that's
no doubt about it. It's rarefied air for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you, Garrett. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great, Phil. Have a great one.
All right, let's go to the break here. We got Smitty standing by. He had a call tonight, Socastee and Westwood, up in the Blythewood area of Columbia. We'll get that word from him, and then if we don't have any more reports coming in, we'll let David give us his thoughts on this first night of the playoff action around the state in the high school league. And we've got everything in except for one Skeeza game. Be right back.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Well, the only reason I like hearing this song at this stage of the night, it means we're almost done for this particular edition of the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal. Not that we don't love doing it, but it's late, we're tired, we're out of scores, and we're out of reporters. Except for one, the loneliest reporter left on the line, Matt Smith, Sac-A-Stee, had a good year, got to the playoffs, but you come to Columbia, you better bring your best. Didn't happen tonight, Smitty.
No, it didn't, Corn. And I tell you every week that Sac-A-Stee is really in a precarious position because of how thin they are, puts them on a high wire. And they lost their best receiver earlier this season, Josh Brown, to a broken arm against Dillon last 2 minutes of that game. He worked through rehab and came back for the finale against Myrtle Beach, but he's playing with a cast on his arm, trying to play two ways, both defensive back and wide receiver, with a cast on his arm. And then tonight, Sac-A-Stee held a 14-13 lead, and their starting running back, Amari Godfrey, fell and went down on the field. We couldn't tell precisely what the injury was. We saw him in an air cast with crutches after the game. So Sac-A-Stee was leading 14-13. They lose Amari Godfrey, and it really comes apart there because Sac-A-Stee then was forced to put its starting linebacker, David Cavalli, over at the running back position. They tried to use Jonathan Goswick as a receiver at running back a little bit, but it just didn't work out. They failed 3 times inside the 10-yard line, were turned away on downs 3 times inside the 10 the rest of the game, and everything kind of went Westwood's way. The ball can bounce funny ways, and Westwood got a fumble return for a touchdown, a 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and then in the final 2 minutes, when the Redhawks were just running the clock out, their quarterback, Carrington Carter, just threw a ball, heaved it toward the end zone, and Josh Brown, who I mentioned, hit that ball with his cast. It spun in the air and went to a receiver for Westwood who was on his backside, just laying on his back in the end zone, that was not going to be able to make a play on the ball, and it just landed in his lap for the final touchdown. So it's just an odd night, but really marred by the Godfrey injury. Sac-A-Stee's lost a few guys like that this year, and as we've talked about, they're just too thin. But Westwood, really good victory for them. Nice for them to get a playoff victory. They have a great facility, really treated with great hospitality, and now they've got a long trip. They've got to go to Berkeley to square up with the Stags next week in the second round, and Berkeley's going to be well rested. They had a bye tonight.
Well, it sounds like it, and I mean, you got to give Sac-A-Stee some credit because I know last year was a tough year. They put some wins together this year. You mentioned the injuries, but they got something to build on for next year. Go back into the weight room, maybe bring in some players up off the JV team, have something to build on for next year with this team.
Yeah, and their JV team, I couldn't get the final number. I believe they won 7 games at the JV level. So I'm excited about that. I'm really looking forward to also to the fact that there's so many great rivalries down here in this beach region.
and Myrtle Beach is still alive. They got the bye. I think North Myrtle won. So it's a great region, a lot of great rivalries down here. And, of course, Coach Hampton, I feel like while I've got the chance, I should mention that his son Atticus, who was diagnosed with leukemia midway through the year, and he had to step away from the team, Atticus is at home this week. So he's got a staycation this week in between treatments. I know he hated to see Socastee lose. He's also a Washington Commanders fan, so he had to watch the Commanders lose to the Eagles. But, hey, life's going to be tough if you're going to be a Washington football fan. So he's just going to have to be tough.
This is true. Smitty, great job all season long. I know the folks down in the Myrtle Beach area, the Socastee area, really enjoyed your play-by-play call all season long, and hopefully they signed you to a long-term contract, and you'll be back at it next year.
Yeah, we've got agents working on it as we speak. You know, Alan Smothers is involved, so, you know, there's going to be agents when Alan Smothers gets involved.
And the police. Okay. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the South Carolina game.
Will do. You enjoy things in Pittsburgh.
Thank you. We shall. Okay, there you go. Everybody's in, except for one game. We did get the final Lawrence Academy 34, Jefferson Davis 28, so we got that one done. And there was one other, Thomas Hayward 49, Dorchester Academy 14. Still looking for Beaufort Academy and Williamsburg Academy. David, any suggestions on where we can go and find that score?
No. I thought I saw a tweet earlier that Williamsburg was winning, but I know Beaufort Academy has an X account.
Well, we're banned from X. We've lost all our X privileges.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I'm just as we're wrapping up, I'm watching Jake Paul and Mike Tyson enter the ring.
Oh,
I forgot they were fighting tonight, but they are. They're gonna dance or fight or whatever they're gonna do.
They're gonna walk away with like $60 million between them. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna. It's robbery.
I am so curious if they're even gonna hit each other.
No, Tyson's gonna hit somebody. I don't care how old he is. He's gonna hit somebody. All right. Before we go, quick thoughts on looking ahead to the main draw of the high school playoffs next week.
Well, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but there'll be some competitive games. There'll be some good games, some good matchups. I think that Chester Clinton game. At the beginning of the year, I thought those two teams were like 1-2 in AA. So that could end up being a really good game to keep an eye on.
All right. Thank you, David. And thank you, JP. And thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping